Good morning. It is time for our class, and today's class could be a bit challenging, but I'm going to do the challenging part first, and then you can end there, or I'm going to just go ahead and add another 15-20 minute section at the end after our 40 minutes that'll include some deep stretching. So you can do these classes together. I'll just kind of flow on through, or you can, if you just are not up for a really challenging class and need more of a stretch, you can fast forward to around the 40-minute mark or so and do primarily the stretch poses. We will be doing some balance poses. We will be doing some side plank balancing. We will be doing some balance on single leg. We will be doing some arm balancing. So I'll try to progress this in a way where you can kind of stop along the way and repeat that. Or if you're ready for more challenge or more heat, then you can move to that. Balance poses, surprisingly or not surprisingly, you really need to focus, make sure you continue breathing because they can raise your heart rate quite a bit. So we'll take some time between to catch back our breath and before moving on to the next super challenging one. So with that being said, if you want to have a couple of blocks handy, a wall nearby, and take a moment just to tap into the rhythm of your breath. The breath can be a powerful anchor to help you stay focused, to concentrate, and to reset. If you'd like to set an intention for today's practice, you could pull up that into the forefront of your mind. And a natural one for this class could be focus or balance in life, balance emotionally. And to seal that intention, you can bring the palms together at heart center and gently draw your chin in and down. And then lifting your head and opening your eyes. We've got to warm up the wrists a little bit for today's practice. So just keep the palms together here, base of the palms pressing firmly, and see how low you can take it down the front of your body and then just hold it there for a moment. Nice, stretching our wrist flexors that are on this side of our arm, lower arm. And now interlace the fingers, press the palms out, stretch through the fingers around the back and look down. Take the arms overhead. And as you exhale, open the arms out to the side. Fingers are towards the sky. Again, pressing the base of your palms away from each other. And then circle the wrist a few times one way. And then the other way. Good. Bring the arms up overhead one more time. Exhale, take the hands behind your back. Interlace the fingers, lift the heart, lift the arm. And exhale, hands back around to heart center. Good. And now just take that one hand out in front of you, fingers towards the ground, and take the other hand kind of near the wrist and just add a little bit of a stretch there. And then switch. Good. And then make a few fist opening and closing kind of fast. Gotta wake up the fingers and hands, all those muscles that we'll need for our balance poses. So kind of whatever feels good here with the hands and wrists. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take it over to hands and knees, start to bring a little energy into our feet and ankles. So from that hands and knees position, I got my toes tucked under to bring some life and blood flow into my toes. Just kind of keep it there for a moment, moving through just a couple rounds of cat-cow on your own. Great, back to neutral position. You can walk the knees back for a modified plank, or you can lift the knees up for full plank. And then just shift your weight back and forth a few times, just kind of, again, waking up the toes. Keep the belly drawn in. Now bend the knees as you lift the hips up and back into a very modified downward dog. Look back to check that your feet are hip width apart. And we'll pedal it out a little bit. Waking up the ankles, calves. And then with both knees generously bent, heels high off the mat, as high as you can get them. Shift your chest towards your thighs. Relax the head and neck. Maintain an aligned spine to avoid that rounding of the lower back as you bring the heels as close as they want to go to the mat right now. On an inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky. And exhale, bring the knee to the chest and just pause there for a moment. And then inhale, lift it up and back again. And exhale, bring it into the chest. And one more time, up and back. And into the chest, this time placing the foot on the mat between the hands. Remember, you can adjust it if you need to get that knee over the ankle. And we're gonna release the back knee to the mat. So we're gonna need some hips to be a little loose today for some of the upcoming poses. So we're gonna walk the right foot over toward the right just a little bit. Bring both arms, so both arms are on the inside of the right. And I'm gonna keep my toes tucked under again, just bringing some energy into the foot, and maybe walk the hands forward or start bending the elbows, allowing the forearms to come a little closer or maybe all the way to the mat. Back knee can be up or down. Just kind of bring your awareness and attention to that right hip joint all around there and just kind of squeezing out all the old. Press back up onto your hands. We're going to take the right hand to the inner right knee, and you're just going to let it open up out to the side. So I've come to the outer blade of my right foot. I'll twist a little bit to the right as well. You can untuck that back foot now if you'd like. And come back to center. Right hand to the mat. Tuck the left toes under and lift the knee as you step back to downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, and keep in mind that you can actually even just bring knee to chest from hands and knees position, your choice. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, bring the knee towards the chest. Inhale, lift that leg up and back. Inhale, knee to chest. Again, inhale, up and back. Inhale, knee to chest, and this time go ahead and take it all the way to the mat and release the back knee. Left foot slides over to the left a bit, arm on the inside, and start to bend the elbows or walk the hands forward or both, and just gently allow your forearms to approach the mat. Bring your attention over to the left hip joint. And imagine that, again, you're just squeezing out old emotions, old stagnant energy. Press up onto your hands and take the left hand to the inner left knee. Allow it to kind of roll to the outer blade of that foot, untuck the back toe, and you can rotate slightly to the left, looking over your left shoulder. And then back to center, hands on the mat, and step it back to downward dog. Come down to hands and knees for a moment, and we're going to stretch out our wrist even here. So take that left hand, back of the hands on the mat, fingers pointing towards your legs. And you can even shift your hips back if you need a deeper stretch. We're now stretching the wrist extensor side of our hands. So when we're doing this, we want to stretch by going the other way. You can try wiggling your fingers a little bit. And then we'll switch to the other side. And then back to the mat. So we're going to move towards a side plank and we're going to progress through some options and you figure out what's best for you. And keep in mind that if wrists are not best for you, you can also do these things from your forearms. And so we'll actually just practice that first. So coming into kind of a modified plank on your forearms, to do a side plank here, you'll just kind of swing your right arm in a bit, start to roll over. We're going to stay on the knee. And this can be your side plank. And you can do this the entire time. Just check that shoulder. You don't want it way out past the elbow. You want it stacked over. Could also do it full plank here, okay? All right, so just want you to feel kind of that option. Let's come back to forearm plank or modified forearm plank. And we'll go to the other side. I'm spinning the left forearm in as you roll over, either stacking the knees or pressing into the outer blade of your bottom foot to lift the legs off the mat. And come down. So stay with that or come back to hands. For side plank here, again, knees can be down or up. You can bring your right hand in slightly, shoulders stacked over the wrist, pressing into the fingertips, not just the base of your hand as you start to roll to the outer blade of your right foot, keeping the hips lifted. And start with a hand on your waist and then reach the fingers toward the sky, palms open, shoulders out of the ears. You're not just dropping the head, keep it in line with your spine and breathe. And come back to your plank. You can stay in your plank, or if you want a little brief rest, just a little bit of a child's pose, extended arms. And then coming back up for the other side, starting from plank with these up or down. Left hand comes in, and then begin to spin to the outer blade of your left foot. And stack the feet or have one in front, hand on the waist to keep those hips lifted, and then possibly towards the sky, fingers spread. Again, checking that you have weight in the fingertips of that left hand, not just the base of your palm. And then coming back to your plank, lower the knees. We'll take a brief rest in child's pose with the arms by our legs, tuck the chin, head down, and circle out the wrists a little bit. Arms stretched out in front, make your way back to plank. You can do what we just did, or I'll add a little option. So right hand moves in, rotating over to the side. Option of bending that top knee in, holding onto the big toe, and lifting that leg to the sky. Still breathing, hips high. And then releasing that leg back, coming to your plank. Option of resting for a moment briefly in an extended child's. Before coming back. And from plank, making to the other side, your choice of any variation you've seen so far. If you're following along with me, feet are stacked with the option of bending in that top knee, holding onto the big toe, and then slowly lifting the leg up to the sky, keeping the hips high, powerful bottom leg, and then releasing back to plank. Nicely done. Knees down. We'll take the knees a little wider this time for an extended child's pose. Utthita Balasana. Still tuck the chin. And if you'd like to, circle out the wrists. All right, making your way to hands and knees position. We're now going to give you an option of taking it one more step. So from downward facing dog, Kind of go like we were in half lizard pose. So we're gonna bring that, let's see which side I want to do. We'll do this side. Right leg up high, and then bring it all the way forward between your hands. Now you can certainly stay right here and just focus on a nice stretch in lizard, whatever you like. Or we're gonna move into that expression we just did in side plank from here. So hands to the inside, pressing through that back straight leg, and then right hand takes onto the right big toes. First two fingers on the inside, thumb is on the tip. As you start to rotate to the outer blade of your bottom left leg, you'll keep holding on and make your way into that side plank expression we just did. And then slowly come back. Nice. And downward facing dog. Other side, lift the left leg up and bring it forward between the hands. Stay with your stretch. Make sure that knee's all the way up over the ankle, or follow along with me. Back leg powerfully strong. Left fingertips pressing to help that whole hand with your balance. Holding on first two fingers on the inside of your big toe, thumb on the tip. And as you're ready, start to roll to the outer blade of that back foot. Weight in the bottom foot and hand, and slowly lifting that top leg. Smiles are optional, breathing is not. And then slowly make your way back. And now we're going to take that back foot step forward and just release into a nice, gentle forward fold. Knees are bent, circle out the wrists. Wiggle the toes. Take the knees a little bit straighter, maybe cross the elbows and just sway side to side. Get some blood into the eyes, the brain. Soften the knees. Shift the hips back a bit and open the arms to the side and safely come all the way up to standing. Exhaling, hands to heart, and down by your side into mountain pose. Take a moment in your mountain pose to reconnect with your breath. Slow things down just a little bit. I'm gonna go through one slow, not really that slow, but sun salutation just to kind of get our blood flow continue to move as we take it to another balance pose in a moment. So inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, safely fold forward into a full forward fold. Your inhale takes you to that halfway lift. And as you exhale, you can step the feet back, lower to the ground or into chaturanga, your choice of cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Shift back to your plank one more time. And again, feel free to go into cobra on the mat or upward dog, but I'm wanting to get that stretch through the front part of the ankle joint. And once more, downward dog. And then look between your hands and bring the feet forward to your halfway lift. Exhale slowly into a forward fold. And then inhale, safely come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to heart, arms by your side. Okay. So we're gonna move from Garudasana Eagle Pose into Warrior 3 with optional Garudasana arms. So let's do just the arms first as a reminder of how they work. So arms are out to the side. We'll bring the right arm on top. As you bend the elbows, some people just would like to hold onto the shoulders a little bit, but if you can, wrap the forearms as well. And so the palms are touching and the wrists are straight. And then you can lift the arms up a little bit, down, a little bit to each side. Back to center and release the arms out to the side. Opposite side on top, so left arm on top, wrapping the forearms. Palms meet if possible, again with straight wrist, and press firmly into all those parts. Arms against arm, wrist against wrist. And take the elbows up and down, side to side. And release the arms out. Overhead as you inhale, and exhale by your side. I'm going to turn to the side because I think I'll hit the windows with my foot if I do it from that direction. We're going to go from eagle pose into warrior three. So we're going to start with our feet. We'll shift the weight into that left foot, soften the right knee and let the heel come off the mat. Again, feel free to use your hand on a wall nearby or a chair, back of a chair. Feel all parts of your left foot on the mat with the toes relaxed and knee is not locked, so softness there. You could just kickstand that foot, right foot over, or we're going to go into a full. Let's now begin with the arms. Arms out to the side on your inhale. As you exhale, right arm over the left, wrapping the forearms, palms firmly pressing. Next step, if you didn't do the kickstand, is to soften the left knee more. Take the right thigh over the left, and it can again touch down or try to wrap it around the bottom leg. Gazing at something in front of you, squeezing through all parts that are touching, and breathing. You can come out of it with the feet to touch down, or just unwrap and go directly into warrior three from here with the arms still locked. Any other arm option is certainly fine. Oops. Oops. And then bringing the right foot next to the left and release the arms all the way up. Exhale, arms by your side and take a few breaths in Tadasana. So you may have felt that your heart rate went up a little bit. Totally normal, so just keep breathing. We'll try the same series on the other side. So we're shifting our energy and attention into the right foot as we lift the left heel, soften the left knee. But to really engage the foot muscles, but relax the toes. And you can pick a spot in front of you to focus on. If you'd like to, you can just kickstand the foot over. Otherwise, we'll do full expression after we do the arms. So arms out to the side, left arm over the right, crossing the forearms or maybe just fingertips on the shoulders. As you continue to gaze at a non-moving spot in front of you, you can bend that right knee even more. And then cross the left thigh over, try to wrap the legs around. Press all parts firmly together and help with the balance. You can stay right there or come out of it to touch the foot down or go directly into warrior three legs. Or I'm still in Garudasana or out to the side if that's better for you. And then slowly coming up to standing, releasing the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. And to Tadasana. Take a few rounds of breath. Okay, hanging in there okay. Doing great. So I gave the hands a bit of a rest, but now we're going to move into a series that, again, you can stop anywhere along the way. We'll go in from tree and then just kind of a single leg squat with an optional arm balance thrown in there. So I'll turn and face you now. for the first, well, yeah, for the first one, although I might hit that back window. That's all right. All right, let's shift our energy and attention back into the left foot. And we'll soften the right knee, lift the heel, keep the pelvis level. And visualize the Vriksasana, the tree pose you want to be, maybe just turning the knee out or lifting the leg up first and using your hand to bring it into the position somewhere along the left inner leg, except not at the knee joint. And just give yourself a few moments to kind of level out where you need to, relax where you can. And if you'd like to stay with your tree pose, any arm expression you'd like. If you want to continue on with me, we're going to take that right ankle and place it over the left thigh. Notice that I still have my ankle bent. Okay, it's not pointed or relaxed, but firmly bent, powerfully using those muscles to maintain that position as I sink my hips back a bit, coming into a single leg squat. So I'm just going to turn around. And you can stay right there. Or if you want to go deeper, you could find your blocks or make your fingertips down to the mat. I'm scooting my left foot back a bit. And now that top foot can anchor around your left upper arm. If you're going to move towards the arm balance, you'll walk the hands out a bit in front. Notice I'm wiggling my left foot back, coming heel off the mat. And with the hands flat and my knee locked, my elbows begin to bend. And if it feels right, I can let that bottom foot come off the mat and maybe even straighten out behind. And then you can bring it back when you're ready. Walk your hands back a bit. And when you feel steady, come back up to standing and release the foot down. Finding Tadasana, slowing down your breath for a moment. Okay, ready for the other side? I'll stay this way. Shifting our energy and attention into the right foot. Spreading the toes. Finding that spot to focus on. And coming into the tree you'd like to be. In your tree pose, without turning your torso, you're trying to open up that left knee to the side. Keep squeezing in that right glute. Any tree position you'd like, and you can certainly remain there. Or to transition and move into the next phase, you can cross the ankle over. Keep that ankle bent, start to shift the hips back. You'll feel a pretty good, kind of like pigeon pose and figure 4 stretch here in a standing position. So you can stay with that stretch with the hands up or down. If you want to move a little closer to the balance, you'll need to flatten the hands on the mat. Maybe wiggle the toes of your right foot back as you lock that foot against your right upper arm. Elbows will stay in line with your wrists and shoulders. They can't flare out to make this work. And if it feels right, you can bring the back toes off the mat. And maybe it straightens behind you. And then coming back in. Walk the hands back. Hands back to heart. And then all the way up to standing for Tadasana. Awesome. Make your way towards the front edge of your mat. Move through a bit of a sun salutation by reaching up on your inhale. Exhale, fold it forward. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, hands are flat, feet step back. You can lower to the ground or to your Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Gonna take a rest in child's pose, so lower the knees. Bring the big toes together. Your choice of knees wide or closed. So I'm doing wide knee to get into my hips with the arms in front, tucking my chin. And then if you want to move the wrists around, we'll be stretching them again in part 2 of the class if you stay for that. Or you can do that part of the class separate. So I'll remind you of that shortly. Lift the head. Come back to hands and knees to bring the knees back underneath the hips. And take a moment, walk the hands back. And if available, just enjoy Vajrasana for a moment, hands in the lap. So our final little balance series is going to be moving from downward facing dog into wild child with an optional little adductor move that's a bit challenging. So keep yourself laughing about it. Just keep some lightness to your practice and think about the enjoyment rather than what you can't do or what should be, because it's all just practice. That's why it's called yoga practice. And as a reminder, in case you tuned in late, after I finish our next little series of poses, the class can end. You can take a moment there, or I'm going to start moving into making the class a little longer today for another 20 minutes or so of some deep stretches. So you can do that at another time, or you can continue on with me depending on your time constraints. All right. All right. So from Vajrasana, we'll take our hands forward and let's make our way to downward facing dog. Actually come back to hands and knees because I want to remind you that you can do wild child from hands and knees. So let's just review that. Left leg reaches up and back behind you. And then as you kind of roll over to the side of your bottom leg, you can lift your right hand up and place your top foot on the mat. So that's one expression, okay? So choose that, or if you want to come into full expression, you'll come on into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lift the left leg up high to the sky, bend the knee, and then slowly start to spin that bottom heel in, allowing your right foot to touch behind you on the mat. So foot's flat, right? The left foot is flat on the outer blade of the bottom foot, okay? Now, here's where some challenge comes in. Firmly pressing into the left foot and right hand. If you want to try this, you're going to squeeze that right leg and lift it up and down a couple of times, a few times. Maybe even with a touch. That's really challenging. And one more. Great, we're coming out of wild thing. So we'll just kind of spin back around with the left leg high and back to the mat. For the other side, you can bring the knees down and do it from that position, or right leg up to the sky, bend the knee, start to open that knee up as you spin the bottom foot, and then the right foot reaches the mat, right hand to the sky, hips pushing forward and up. And if you feel firmly planted through hand and foot, squeeze that bottom leg with the option of lifting it up and down a few times. This side's harder for me. Good adductor work, so those inner thighs. And then we'll come out of it, spinning back around. Downward facing dog. Knees to the mat. Traditional child's pose, toes touching, knees a little closer so we can bring the arms around. Tuck the chin fully. Releasing the crown of our head to the mat. And circle out your wrists a bit here. Maybe make a couple of fists, opening and closing the hands, the fingers. Slowly roll up onto your heels in Vajrasana firm pose. Shift your hips over to one side. And bring the legs out in front to find your sit bones. From staff pose with the hands by your hip joints, elbows in, shoulders down, lengthen your spine. And then soften your eyes or close the eyes, draw the chin in and down for a moment. Lifting your gaze. Come into a seated position that allows for that aligned spine, which you do at the beginning of class. And take a moment to recognize that even the mere practicing of balance poses, whether you feel like they manifested as you had hoped or not, it's still using the muscles that are great as you age to keep the nervous system awake and reduce the risk of falls. It's great for balance in all aspects of your life and for focus. So congratulate yourself on the effort and the joy that you put into your practice today. And gratitude for the opportunity to practice. As you open your eyes, you can decide to end the class here as a usual class, or I will continue on now with some deep stretches to kind of move into some of those places we've been working in this class and just places that tend to get a little tight, okay? So for those of us sticking around, we're gonna take the knees up and we're gonna extend the left leg straight out in front, toes to the sky. We'll hug that right knee in a little closer. Good. And then open the knee out to the side, sole of the foot to the left inner thigh. Moving into Janu Shavasana A, we'll reach up on an inhale. And as you exhale, think about lengthening your torso forward. Finding the leg or the foot. Inhaling as the chest lifts up, shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale into your full expression of Janu Shavasana A. It's really it's called head to knee, but it's really more forehead to shin. As you inhale, lift the torso away from the thigh, bring your body back up, and bring the right knee up, foot away. We're gonna bring both knees in and stay on this left side for a moment, doing a seated figure four pose. So you can walk the feet out a little bit if you need to. And then as you hug the left knee in, you're going to cross the ankle over the thighs, kind of like so remember when in that standing pose, if you were in the balance section of this class, you'll probably feel a nice hip stretch already. Take your hands behind you. Make sure you're not rounding the back. So lift up through the lower back especially. And you can stay right there, or you can release the hands. You can even wrap the arms around that leg. But again, keep this muscle strong so it stays in a nice dorsiflexion position and straighten the bottom leg. And you kind of rock your baby leg. Sitting up tall, breathing in and out. If your bottom leg is not straight, go ahead and straighten it as you take the top foot to the outside of that right thigh. Bottom leg can stay there, or heel can swing around to the outside of your left hip, grounding down through both sit bones for spinal twist to the left. Left hand behind you. This is Ardha Matsyendrasana. Exhale, elbow to the outside of the left thigh. Lengthen through the spine. Relax the shoulders and exhale, twist. Continue breathing. Back to the front. Untwisting. Take that bottom foot straight again. Bring the left knee over. As you power down through that strong bottom leg, we'll just open up the left knee for Janu Shavasana A on this side. So grounding through the sit bones, torso squared over that straight right leg. You reach up on your inhale and exhale, come forward. Another inhale to create length, and then exhale into your forward fold. As you inhale, lift your chest away from the leg. Release the foot or leg as you come back up. We'll bring the left knee up and foot away a bit and draw the right knee in as well. And now we're going to kind of open up that other hip. So we'll take the right foot in close, cross it over, hands behind you to get that length through your spine. Option of taking the foot, the outer blade at your elbow crease, wrapping the arms around and taking the bottom leg to the mat, to the ground. As you hug, kind of use that levers of your arms to lengthen, bringing the leg closer to your body and breathing, relaxing the shoulders. Feel what's happening around that right hip. Nice. And then we'll take that foot to the outside of the left leg. If available, you can shift to the left hip and bring the left heel over outside the right hip, grounding through both sit bones, top knee to the sky. Maybe use the arms to again get that long spine, space between the vertebrae. And to twist to the right hand will go behind. Inhale, reach up with the left, and exhale to the outside of that thigh. Another inhale helps you broaden across the collarbones, straight left wrist, and turning to the right. Inhale as you gaze back to the front, and release the elbows. And straighten out the bottom leg, and cross the feet, and take them out in front. Maybe shake them out for a moment. Great. Now bending both knees in, heels as close as they want to come towards your body, and then open the knees out to the side, moving into Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. You can support the knees with hands or blocks if needed, and take a moment, thumbs on the inside of your feet, and you can kind of open the feet like you're opening a book. Gazing down, but a long spine. Take another inhale there, and as you exhale, you can start to bring your chest forward and down towards the mat in front of you. So trying to keep an aligned spine, we're not rounding it. Okay, so long spine, hinging at the hip creases. One breath at a time. If you have issues with your knees, like I do with my left, you may not go as far because you really want to stay aware of what's happening at the knees. As you inhale, bring your torso back up. We'll do a little variation of this. So now feet are still together, but bring the heels farther away to create more of a diamond shape with kind of equal angles. This time we will round the back. So you can place the hands on top. I personally like to slide the hands under. And as I round the back, bringing the crown of my head towards the arches of my feet. You can take the hands to the tops of the feet if you'd like. But you may be somewhere along the way. It's totally fine. But you are rounding the back and then just holding where it feels right for you and breathing. Full deep breaths. If your mind's wandered away from your mat, just bring it back to your practice. And then slowly roll back out of the pose, removing the arms. Knees together. You can release them out in front. Taking the hands behind you, let's give a little stretch to those hip flexors. So you can do full upward facing plank if you know it. Otherwise, bend the knees, feet are hip width apart. Hands are behind you. I'm pointing my fingers towards my feet, towards the camera. Elbows in. And then I'm just going to lift the hips up into tabletop, pressing through the inner corners of my feet. Hips are high. Stretching a bit through the upper arms. Through the hip flexors. And then exhale, release back to the mat. Take whatever comfortable seated position you'd like. We're going to focus on the wrists again for a moment, like we did at the very beginning of part 1 of the class. So let's take the left wrist out in front, point the fingers down to the mat, other hand on top, near the wrist joint, and just encourage that hand back towards your body. Shoulders stay relaxed. And then do the opposite, palm forward like a stop sign. Take the hand, let's start it at the base and pull back. But then you may want to slide up to the fingers and get a little stretch through. You'll feel that more in the finger joints. And then we'll switch fingers down on the right side, hand on the back. Palm forward, stretching that hand back, maybe sliding up to the fingers. And release. Come to hands and knees. We're going to do similar and then work a little bit more on our feet. Left hand, we're going to spin the fingers towards the outside of the mat and then as far back as they'll go towards your legs. And then pressing the palm down. You can shift your hips back if you need a deeper stretch. You should feel that. And the wrist flexor side of the arm, the lower arm. Spin those fingers around. We'll do the same thing other side. And spin it around. So the toes tucked under. See if you can start to walk your hands back and settle down onto your heels. You can rest your hands on blocks or your thighs if that works for your toes. Just stretching through those muscles for a moment. And you maybe want to take your hands back and kind of along the arches of both feet. You might feel kind of a position. If that feels super tight, that can lead towards inflammation, plantar fasciitis. So maybe just massage along the arches, up and down from the ball of your foot to the inner heel. Squeeze. Any kind of massage that feels good to the soles of your feet right now. Good. Hands at heart center. Take the arms overhead. Exhale behind your back and interlace the fingers to lift the heart. And exhale, hands back around to heart. You can take the hands down, untuck the toes, and shift your hips to one side, bringing the legs back around. And again, to whatever position feels good. We're going to work on our feet a little bit some more. So we're going to take that top foot, and now we're going to bend the toes. So we're going into toe flexion. We were in toe extension. So use the base of your palm and just curl the toes kind of actively and allow for what's called plantar flexion. So instead of like in the a lot of poses where I'm asking you to maintain that dorsiflexion, that ankle bend, we're going to allow that to open up, bend the toes, and just feel a nice stretch. Maybe even, again, massaging along the muscles. This is the tibialis anterior. If you ever get shin splints, this is the muscle involved. So see if you find any tender spots that need a little love and care. Or just close your eyes in the stretch and stay still. You can take your fingers between the toes, just kind of spread them apart and move them around however feels nice. If you're crammed in shoes a lot during the day, stretching the toes, getting some space between them is useful. Okay. And I'll just switch sides. You can do this in a chair too. We'll allow the top of the foot, pull it back towards the direction behind you, maybe bending the toes a little bit as well. And you can find any spots that are sensitive or need some extra attention with massage, or just remain still with eyes closed to observe. And then fingers between the toes. Have to work it a little bit. And you can then move them around however you want. Good. And release. Take the knees together, feet in front, and then open out into a V position. Legs are straighten out, and maybe you lift up just slightly to anterior and a tip the pelvis slightly forward while the kneecaps and toes stay up or even slightly back. You can keep the hands there if you need it. Otherwise, hands are in front. You're going to start to slowly bring your chest toward the floor in front of you. Again, just focusing on moving at the hip creases rather than sinking back and rounding. Excuse me. If you'd rather hold on to the big toes, you can do that. Upavishta Konasana, extended angle. And then as you inhale, you can walk the hands in, bring the legs back together. We'll do just a couple of things on our back. So make sure you have room for your full body as you just make your way slowly down onto your back. To move into Setu Bandha Sarvagasana bridge pose, walk the heels in a bit, still hip width apart. Start to draw the belly down, palms to the sky, and lift the hips and part of your back off of the mat, keeping the chin away from the chest as you draw the shoulder blades closer to each other, maybe even interlacing the fingertips and pressing the outer wrists, the outer edges of your pinky into the mat. Breathing fully in and out as you lengthen the tailbone towards your calf muscles. Squeezing that imaginary block between your thighs. And slowly release the hands out the way. Slowly roll it back down. You can hug the knees into your chest, forehead to knees. Release the head back down, and for your spinal twist, if you want to go into Garudasana legs, you can take that left thigh over the right and maybe even wrap fully around, and then bring your right foot to the mat. Scoot the hips to the left, arms out to the side as you lower the knees to the right. Spread the shoulder blades, melt them down into your mat and gaze to the left. Bring your knees back up to the sky. Realign your hips. And you can bring the foot off the mat, uncrossing, and switching to the other side. Left foot down, scoot the hips to the right, and begin lowering the knees to the left as you spread the shoulder blades out across your mat and look to the right. You can add a little leverage with your left hand on the outer right thigh if you'd like. Gazing back to the front, bring the knees back up, realign your spine, lift the foot and uncross. Center the hips, arms a little closer. You can allow the legs to just relax out onto the mat, maybe any final stretch you need. And with the arms a comfortable distance away from your body with the palms up. And the feet just naturally relaxing out to the side, finding a comfortable position for your head. Allow yourself to sink into your Shavasana, your deep relaxation phase of the class. No longer trying to control the rhythm or rate of your breath. Allowing your body to absorb the benefits of all that you've done. Shift into that place of healing and rejuvenation. I encourage you to stay here for 10 minutes or more. You can always pause me or mute me until you're ready to come out of it. And to move out of your Shavasana, begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Gently turn your head side to side, noticing any increase in peace and calmness. And bigger movements with the wrists and the ankles, the mouth, the eyebrows. And then bend the knees, walk the feet in. Allow yourself to roll over onto one side, bringing the arm with you and resting your head on your hands for a moment. Once more, feeling gratitude for taking this time. Create a state of balance within. And then use a hand to help you come back to a seated position. Once more, lining the spine, softening where you can. Just enjoying the power of stillness. Hands back together at heart center. And open your eyes. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed this stretch session. Have a great rest of your day.